We will now call to order the monthly board meeting of Leavenworth USD 453. The date is October 13th, 2025. We'll do a roll call. Ms. Murphy?
Here.
Ms. Wells?
Here.
Ms. Overby? Ms. Price?
Here.
And Mr. Carney?
Here.
And
Ms. Wilson.
Ms. Wilson?
Almost here.
And Ms. Reed is not going to be here, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Due to illness.
okay.
Long road
Let's stand
to-
for the Pledge of Allegiance. Right over there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, want to entertain a motion to, or, no, we're going to do the district. Dr. Adams, would you like to do the district mission statement?
I would love to. Thank you all for being here tonight and for attending at the alternative venue. Sorry. On to the mission. The mission of Leavenworth Public Schools is to prepare every student for success in every classroom every day.
Okay, and then we will do Board of Education individual commitments. Start with Ms. Murphy,
I commit to facilitating the wonders and to ask more questions.
Ms. Wells,
I commit to not agreeing to push through items until they have gone through a discernment phase, earning a majority of support.
Ms. Wilson,
I commit to working on my wonders without letting it overtake my focus.
Ms. Price,
I commit to sharing ideas and achieving results for positive change.
Mr. Carney,
I commit to being open-minded and attentive to the ideas of others for the good of the whole. Focus on the task at hand.
and I commit to sharing my wonder with more clarity and share my discernment to provide thoughtful feedback. Okay, moving on to, we have no scheduled patron input.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as it's presented.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approve the agenda? Okay, 6-0. No scheduled patron input, so moving on to number 2, executive session.
Madam President, I move we go into executive session to discuss non-elected personnel pursuant to the exception under the Kansas Open Meeting Act, or known as COMA, in order to protect the privacy interests of the individuals to be discussed, and that we return into open session in this room at 6:12. The board will invite Dr. Adams, Amy Sloan, Amy Jo Troyer, and Robert Hingula into the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
6-0. Okay,
All right.
and where are we? Okay, so we are back in the regular session. I have a motion to adopt the staffing report as presented.
I make a motion to adopt the staffing report as it's been presented to us.
Second by Ms. Price. All in favor?
Aye.
6-0. Okay. Item number 3, our facility tour.
All right, so just a little bit of an introduction. First and foremost, I think it's always important for you to see where your capital dollars got spent whenever we can show you that. Tonight is a great example of those renovations that were specific to the movement of Nettie Hartnett, those students, those programs. So we're going to head on over to the IC side. Mr. Varvel is going to lead you. I would like to invite anybody that's willing and able to go with us. So we're going to make it a very public tour. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, it's a walk and talk. Mr. Varvel, they're yours.
Let's do it.
Dr. Adams, we're going to cut the screen for this.
Unless you want to go on the road with the film.
Cannot do that.
Okay. My best estimate is 15 minutes,
Okay.
but that is truly an estimate.
Roger. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll be here when you get.
Okay, we're moving to number 4, the consent agenda. Number 4.6 has been removed. That field trip has been postponed until the spring, and so that has been removed from the consent agenda.
I'd like
So,
to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the adjustments.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
6-0. Okay. Strategic plan update.
All right.
Number 6.
All right, good evening. I am here to present our annual student enrollment and as far as student enrollment and the budget implications. This will actually impact all focus areas, most specifically our staffing and personnel, as well as our finance and operations. As you can see, we are down 142 students compared to last year. Our total is 3135. This was updated slightly from what I had shared with you I think I shared this a week ago, but they're cleaning up and scrubbing the data. I do want to bring to your attention, this is pre-audit count. So this is head count, not FTE full-time equivalent. So this is head count. Please keep that in mind. So we are down 142. I think it's important before we proceed, we want to take special attention to that 12th grade. You have 294, and then looking at your kindergarten. Each year, our upper class are exiting a large number, but what's coming in is a lower number. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And so that's partly what is impacting us, as well as other schools across the district, because Kansas as a whole is seeing a declining enrollment. This is our enrollment over the last 5 years. As you can see, we have steadily declined over the last 5 years, and our enrollment once again is down 142. I do want to bring your attention, there are 2 buildings that did have an increase from the previous year. That's Richard Warren Intermediate as well as the virtual schools. Just a slight increase to both of those buildings. This is your capacity that you set as a board as required by state statute. JVCC, that board policy, which requires us to set a capacity. You do that in the spring. That is based off of you as a board through our recommendations, say how many students should be at each grade and at each level. As you can see, the ratio student teacher, for example, at kindergarten is 18, and as you increase across over to the right, you set it at 25, say for like 6th grade, 7th grade, and so forth. So that's what we want. 26 students to 1 teacher at a 5th, 6th grade, and so forth. It's important, this is what we published. We took all of our enrollment from the previous year and we rolled them up. So we put a kindergartner in 1st grade, a 1st grader in 2nd grade. And so this is how we determined our open seats. We took our enrollment that we had last year, we rolled everybody up, assuming who would be returning. And then we determined what open seats we had. So we put this on our district webpage from June 1st through June 30th. We actually took anybody that wanted to come from outside of our district potentially could submit an application. So we had potentially up to 227 open seats. With our capacity, you said if we go over that number, we need to inform you and keep you up to date, which we have. And if you recall, early in September, we decided we're going to keep an eye on our 1st grade at Henry. They were actually above that number of 18. And then at Anthony, they were actually above their 3rd grade, which should only be at 23. They're running right around 25. And so you gave us the authority to go ahead and add a section. The Henry Leavenworth, they wanted to, instead of adding a teacher, they wanted to add an aide, because they're a 3-section building now. They wanted to add an aide for each classroom. whereas Anthony wanted to go ahead and add another teacher. And that's that teacher that I just spoke of, that's on the staffing report, which you just approved. Thank you. And so now the teacher actually started a week ago, and so she's going to transition slowly, that third grade teacher over at Anthony. We're slowly letting her spend time in each of the classrooms. She's getting her classroom set up and so forth. So that's working very well. But now you can see we're at the set student to teacher ratio that you have set for our elementaries. Transfer data. We have what we used to call in-district, out-of-district. This is still our in-district transfers. You can only transfer in our district when you have a similar configuration. And we only have 3 elementaries that have a similar configuration. So David Brewer, Anthony, and Henry are all 1st through 4th. So a person can only transfer to one of those buildings. You'll see that our in-district transfers are actually up from last year, 43 to 62. That is an application process. We do not approve those until after we go through enrollment. So families do have to wait until after we get the majority of our students. So sometimes they may not hear until right before school. We did decline if it was in a grade that did not have an opening, such as that 1st grade at Henry or 3rd grade in certain programs. But it's good to see that we are up in all of our in-district transfers. And I will tell you, in-district transfers are typically for childcare, grandparents, where they live, or transportation. Those are the reasons why we accept an in-district transfer, because it will help the family potentially with childcare before and after school. Now, we just talked about in-district transfers. These, what we used to call, I still refer, so I'm aging myself, out-of-district transfers or non-residents. That's our JVCC policy. It is good to see that we are up yet again. I do want to draw your attention to, if you notice there in the description, non-resident, what it says for student continued enrollment. You as a board in December of 23 approved this brand new policy. It was a state statute that we had to put in place. So previously, every single year, a student that wanted to come to Leavenworth their parents had to fill out the application every single year. In 2023, every single student that was in 23-24 was on a non-resident transfer. They were automatically grandfathered in. So that's why you see that drop, that 149 back in 23-24. They were grandfathered in, so they no longer had to apply. So that's why you see that significant drop. I do think it's a good thing right here as far as this year. Our non-residents is actually up again. So we were at 33 in addition to our grandfather, and then we were at 63. And our grandfather, as far as total, we are at 233 that were previous. So as long as I'm in good standing, if I'm on an out-of-district transfer, non-resident from kindergarten, I can go all through way through 12th and never have to apply again. So we have a total of the 233 plus the 63 this year. We have 296 students that do not reside in our district attending Leavenworth Public Schools. I think that's exciting that our number is up for non-residents. Students are wanting to come to our school district. Transfer data, you as a board have always asked for it to be broken down by where are the students coming from. So again, these are non-resident elementary only. We had a total of 8 this year. You can see 4 come from Lansing. We have the 1 from Pleasant Ridge, and then we have 3 other. The others are from KCK. I do have a KC Mo, and I have a Topeka, and that's because their family, their mother or father work in Leavenworth or at Fort Leavenworth, and they've asked to bring their child to attend our school. Secondary, we have a total increase again. So elementary was up for non-resident, as was non-resident for secondary, and you can see an increase at the high school. Last year they were at 28, this year they're at 55. Where are those students coming from? You'll see, I think it's important that you can see where the students are from the Richard Warren campus. We have 4 from Lansing, and then from the high school, secondary high school, you can see we have a total of 13 from Lansing, 34 from Fort Leavenworth is a high number. If you think about it, Fort Leavenworth has through 9th grade. So they are considered a non-resident 9th grader if they come to our high school. So 34 of those students are freshmen from Fort Leavenworth that are choosing to come to our high school versus staying at the fort. The Pioneer Career Center, our CTE, Career and Tech Ed, want to give you some updates on the enrollment. Excited to report that those numbers are also up from last year. The previous year we were at 109. This year we're at 135. I do think it's important to note that some of these are duplicate numbers. So you have fall semester 73, spring semester 62. You could have a student enrolled in the fall, duplicated in the spring. Okay, so those are some duplicated numbers. So you're at 135. Enrollment by programs at the Pioneer Career Center. This continues to be a interest is the culinary as well as the CNA. CNA actually is the largest group that we have of 33, and then we do have the culinary of 18, and then you can see the other programs. The NO is they are not offering at the bottom down there where it said baking. This year they are not offering that. They dropped that. The Pioneer Career Center did. But we have a total of 91 students. So if you remember from this slide, I had 135. Of the 135 that are enrolled fall and spring, it's actually 91 different students. So,
Amy,
yes.
who does the advertising for the Career Center? Do we get involved in that, or
We work jointly with KCK. They'll send information to the high school as well as we put things on the website. But we will work with them, and I know the high school works with them.
Okay.
Okay, this is kind of give you a snapshot. We've always talked about our community, our school community being very transient, students coming in and leaving. So this year, brand new, we have 526 students that were not enrolled in our school at the end of the year. That means they're brand new to our buildings or our schools. 526. That equals a 4A school district that came in this year. Of that, do you see our returning students? We have 2,731. Of that 2,731, that actually equates to, I believe it's 87% of our students returned. So 87% of our students that were here last year are here this year, or returned, excuse me. Now, where did the students who left our district go? You can see we lost, so we just said we gained a 4A district as far as the number of students. We lost a 4A school district as far as the number of students that have left our district that were enrolled in our district last year and are no longer enrolled in our district this year. So we lost 389. In district was the largest at 208, followed by out of state, and then followed by unknown or other. I'm going to break that down a little bit more so you kind of can find. I've been asked to give you in-state. Where did the students go? In-state. So this is only in the state of Kansas. You can see that we had 77 students go to Lansing. We had 21 go to Easton, 6 to Baser, followed by the Fort, and then 1 at Tongi. Other is 101. That means they went to another school in the state of Kansas somewhere. So that's at 208. That coincides with our 208 in-state. So I've given you a quick snapshot of our enrollment. How does that impact our district? As you can see, the general fund, Miss Beth calculated this for us. The difference would be about 1.1 million that we're losing because of our enrollment drop. It's a little bit over that. It's 1.113 million that we're losing only, and this is specific only to the general fund and supplemental. This doesn't count anything else. So what questions do you have for me that I might try to answer? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Amy, I do have a question. I apologize. I wrote it down, and because I wrote it down, it slipped my mind. The 3-year program at Lawson, the enrollment cut in half. Was that intentional or?
Well, we didn't get we only had 2 teachers. We went from 3 sections
Okay.
of pre-K down to 2. Our enrollment has declined in that, and also because we couldn't find a pre-K teacher, to be quite honest.
So did we have applications that we weren't able to accept
were-
because we didn't have?
No, we actually still have room. A lot of,
Okay.
we have applications and they don't apply, or they don't qualify.
Okay.
Now, we would have had really small classes, but we would have not been able to be fully staffed.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to number 7, superintendent report.
Thank you. Amy, thanks for the great report. All right, Mr. Rude, we're going to work our way from left to right on the tabs. Yep, so we'll start here. I have 3 things for you tonight. The first of which is a first read of the academic calendar for 26-27. Yes, that's right, 2027. I'm just going to hit the high points. This has already been through the feedback process, both with our staff as well as other internal stakeholders. So if you'll look, convocation is on the morning of the 12th. And then you've got a teacher workday and back to school nights on the 13th. Our first day of school is 18 August, 2026. You're going to see a lot of consistency throughout the year, if you will, from what we have this year. So honoring many of the same federal holidays, honoring the same time around parent-teacher conferences for the most part, honoring a full week at Thanksgiving, 2 weeks at Christmas. You get the idea, right? So if you'll go to the last month, May, please, Josh. And I'm happy to preview anything if you want to see it specifically. Again, tonight is a first read. Spring break continues to align with the Kansas Board of Regents. That helps our students that are enrolled in other post-secondary efforts. The last day of school is 27 May, 2027.
So graduation is the 21st.
Graduation, I show would be the 22nd. I think Friday's the 21st, right?
Sorry.
Yep. So 22 May. What questions can I answer? Again, emphasizing this is a first read. Our intent would be to bring this to you for the November regular and then be ready to publish for staff, students, parents, etc. shortly thereafter. Josh, thank you. Let's move our way to the Google Sheet and specifically tab number 2. All right, connected to Amy's presentation. This is a 20-year historical look at the 5 counties, including Leavenworth and surrounding. I've honed in and filtered just for Leavenworth County. Let's take it to chart 3, please, Josh. Chart 3 shows the historical enrollment. This is probably where I should pause and clarify. Enrollments and FTE are often used synonymously. Beth will tell you head count is the physical number of pupils. FTE then is that equivalent. So think in the instance of a pre-K child, you're going to have a pre-K student that's weighted at 0.5 FTE. So 9 times out of 10, a district's FTE will be lower than their head count. So again, these are the Leavenworth County only districts. Leavenworth, of course, is at the top. You will see there our really high water mark was around 08. And this is again just throughout the last 20 years. Questions on that? Okay, what I don't have is the number of buildings from 2007 and 8. What I do have for you is the Google document that Josh is about to click on that shows you the current buildings still open and the capacity of those buildings. As you just saw with the tour, we moved all the programs from Nettie Hardnett over to the IC suite number 2. Thank you, Tim. And we are now down to 7 attendance centers. You'll see the elementaries, generally speaking, have a capacity for approximately 600 students. Staff helped me out. I think it was 1819, 1920. We reoriented the elementaries and they became a 1 through 4 campus. Prior to that, they housed both the kindergarten as well as the 5th grade. So apples to apples, we could really look back the last 5 years. Each of those buildings, generally speaking, has been on decline. Leavenworth High School at its high water mark was approximately 1,500 students. They were a 6A at the time in the Sunflower League. And then, of course, as you know, Richard Warren, the 7-8 side, has been in existence for a number of years. The IC was constructed about 6 years ago. Let me pause there. What questions might there be about that data?
Looking at those numbers, we're about at half capacity everywhere.
Yes, ma'am. So with the context of the Google Sheet, combined with what Amy just presented, and then this, it is my recommendation that we entertain some form of an enrollment study. I believe that is of the, I'm going to say the utmost importance right now as it relates to a litany of decisions that need to be made that have cascading and long-standing impacts. I want to be clear and upfront, the enrollment study will have a cost. I don't know what that cost is yet, but I believe it will be money well spent ahead of some major decisions that this board will be facing.
Dr. Adams, how long does a enrollment study typically take?
Sure. I'm going to speak to my personal history in other districts, and I'll let Beth add on. That typically has been about a 90-day curation window from start to finish. Beth?
Yes, that was our experience, yes.
Well, I think it has to be done because we have to make some big decisions and you can't make those decisions without
Good data.
the data.
Good.
I mean, that's,
So with that, if it's under 20,000, obviously I would have the ability to exercise that. If it's over, we would be bringing it to you for formal action. But I do believe it is at least worth the exercise to go through, bring you that proposal if necessary, and move forward as appropriate if you decide to.
My guess is there aren't very many organizations that do these studies. Are we going to go back to who we had? So I think about 2017, 2018.
Yep.
That last study.
So Beth, I don't know if you had a chance to look that
I
up.
did.
It was RSP Associates last time.
Yes,
What was that last time?
the cost was $15,500 for the enrollment study.
Okay.
That was in 2019. So it's probably going to be right at 20,000.
Okay.
To your point, Mrs. Price, there is not exactly a number of companies that do this. This is pretty niche work, I would argue.
Okay.
But I'm happy to go to the firms that do exercise this on a regular basis.
Why are we doing an enrollment study when we can see the pattern? Like when we did the last one, it said that our enrollment was going to decline, that we weren't looking at gaining new students based on birth rates and the geographic of our community not being able to grow because we are landlocked within where we are. So why are we going to pay to get the same information again?
because it's not just straight numbers. Because if we have to start making decisions about where people are gonna go, you gotta know
Where they live.
where they live, because potentially,
Hard decisions are in our
You
future.
you have
Well,
some really
potentially-
hard potential decisions in front of you, Mrs. Wells.
Potentially too, where an RHID come before us that brought in 330 houses like they've talked. That's going to change everything again. So while we're looking at declining enrollment, you bring in that housing, not counting the 130 some vacant homes right now where they get filled if jobs open back up somewhere. Then again, we're going to be facing the decisions of what are we going to do if we don't have room now for all these people. So we might be doing a study before we might be double tapping a study to figure something out, not knowing what's coming down the pipeline with the RHID.
but if you're looking at each building being roughly half capacity,
Something else.
even with that, we're still gonna be declining. We still have, not declining,
Space.
we still have a lot of space.
We have excess capacity.
Then again, it depends
Capacity.
the age group of every family that comes in.
What kind of recommendations did they give us in 2018 when we had it?
I wasn't here,
I was about to say, I wasn't.
so I'm gonna lean on some of the folks over here
That's how we realigned the district boundaries for each attending.
so they can help with boundary alignment.
Yes.
I think it was informative of what to do with your 5-6 center, which ultimately fed into the bond issue conversations, if I'm not mistaken. Again, fill in because I wasn't here.
We also, if you recall, for those of you that are part of this community a long time, we've slowly been closing elementaries. We had 6 elementaries, then we went to 5, then we now are at 4, and so forth. So that's one of the things. We also had 2 middle schools and went to 1. I mean, so over time, through the study, we determined that it was more efficient to run with smaller buildings.
Well, and then I remember after the study too, along with the bond issue where we were discussing all this is why we did the 5th, 6th grade to
Redistrict.
alleviate
Mhm.
any overcrowding in those schools between pre-K, kindergarten, and everything else. That way we didn't have to redistrict everyone and move them out of other neighborhoods.
We definitely have room. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Moving on to closing of the meeting. Upcoming dates. I'm just going to go down through the 11th of November. And a couple I added on here. October 20th is the College and Career Night at the high school, beginning at 6 p.m., I believe, 6 p.m. That is always a good thing to attend if you've got kids in the high school. The 21st of October is the end of the first quarter, so we are a quarter of the way there. 22nd is a work day for teachers with conferences, parent-teacher conferences starting at 5 p.m. going to 8 p.m. October 23rd, parent-teacher conferences, no school for students. Conferences go from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. October 24th, no school. November 10th is a professional development day, no school for students. And also the Board of Education meetings at 6 p.m. And then November 11th is Veterans Day, no school. So we'll all be downtown enjoying the parade. Anything to add? Or is it going to go all the way through December? Okay, all right. So now moving on to unscheduled patron input. And we have Miss Maylene Schertz.
Good evening. My name's Maylin Schertz.
You've got three minutes.
Okay, got it. And I'm here tonight as a parent deeply concerned about the district's continued failure to protect our children, not only their physical safety, but their emotional and educational well-being. I started looking into the policies of this school district when my son began to experience severe bullying that went unchecked despite being reported. What I found and experienced in this process has been shocking and extremely disheartening. I want to thank Alyssa for being the only person up there that replied to my email when I first sent it out about what was happening. Since the beginning of this school year, it's become increasingly clear that our district's lack of effective policies and structure is creating more harm than help. Parents are forced to fight through confusing systems, inconsistent procedures, and a culture that too often just dismisses their concerns rather than addressing them at all. People are swept aside and under the rug because it's assumed they will just give up. This isn't how a school district should operate if its mission is to support its children. Even more alarming, mental health professionals in this community are now advising parents and families to remove their children from this school district and take them other places. It is becoming too unhealthy for students to continue their education here. That is heartbreaking as a parent and as a mother who is struggling with these systems. It is a sign of a deep institutional failure. It's not surface level anymore. The enrollment that you've been hearing about tonight is clearly connected to these concerns that I have. If I personally know of 5 separate students that left in the last year, my circle is small here. I do not know many people. And if I know 5 families that have left because of problems with policy, there is a bigger issue. You cannot afford to lose the students that you already have. We need to work on maintaining the families that we have here, supporting them, and creating a space that's safe for our children. I don't want to have to spend every day waiting to hear from my son when he gets home from school to find out if he's been okay. I don't want to have to continue to get phone calls every week about somebody else doing something to my son that I have no control over. I have to trust our administrators to be able to take care of my child, and I don't. And that's because there is not clear policy on how to handle these things. It's different from school to school within the district. It is not consistent, and it is not clear.
Sure, you have time. You're at time.
Okay. Do better, be better.
Okay, moving on to board member comments. I'm gonna start down with Mr. Carney.
I'm gonna go last.
Okay. Ms. Wilson, any comments?
Thank you for the families that came out, and just thank you for the tour for the building. It looks nice. I'm glad the children have a good place to be over there. And have a great weekend.
Okay, Ms. Marquez?
I went through the gift log. I wanted to thank everyone for their generous donations, including Chartwells for supporting the chamber connection meetings with the school district, along with feeding members that attend our board meetings. That is very kind of generous of you. The building update tour that we just had, I want to say I was very impressed. It's nice, it's clean, it's polished, and I'm sure the kids are very excited about being in this kind of environment with the more openness, brightness, and more feeling of community rather than being kind of off away from everyone else. So good job on that. Also, we had a longtime Pioneer family member that passed away. I've known him for years because of where I work, and I would see him shop and everything. But we lost Mr. Van Horn, who had been, at least what I've known of, a principal at West, who was a board member for many years, to include 8 years as president of this board. And I just wanted to extend my condolences to his family for his loss. It's still losing a member of our family, and I feel with you. He had a good long life, but it's still sad to know he's gone. And that's all I have.
Ms. Wells?
I would just like to encourage families to participate in parent-teacher conferences as you are able to. And if for some reason you're not able to go at one of the scheduled times, please reach out and just have that phone call or email with your teachers and make a plan on how to help our students succeed.
Mr. Carney?
Carney, it's on you.
You're still waiting to go last? Ms. Price?
All right. I do want to reiterate the whole thing about parent-teacher conferences. It means a lot to teachers to see the families, parents. So if you haven't got a plan to go, please make a plan to go. Meet your students' teachers. It means a lot. And then I'll put one out for just general citizenship. So early voting starts the 15th of October at the courthouse, goes through the 3rd of November, and election day is on the 4th of November. This is a local election, and this one means a lot. I know a lot of people will stay home because they're like, no big deal. But local elections mean a lot. Go vote, please. And it's always a good day to be a pioneer.
Mr. Carney?
Well, first, on a lighter note, I've been to every football game this year, and home and away. And I think if you look back on the history of Leavenworth High football, we haven't had much of a team, but we got a team now that's top notch. And I think they're going to probably end up, I think, playing for the state championship. Last Friday, they beat DeSoto. It was the first time in the history of Leavenworth that they beat DeSoto. So that was really remarkable. But those kids have been together since 8th grade. I've been following them because my grandson's in that class, senior class this year. And they just stuck with it, and it shows what happens if you stick with a program. And of course, Coach Sation had a big impact on that. On a heavier note, as you probably all know, I think my son put it on Facebook. I was in the hospital for a while, about died. That's okay. We're all going to die. But I get home, and the first thing I read in the paper is Mr. Proctor, our illustrious he's not in my district. But anyway, so it's surprising me that, everybody talked about how long they've been living in this community. I've lived here more than anybody on the board, and I've been on the board more than anybody. And we've never had a person like him in the
Is
legislature.
this school board related?
School board related?
Or, this isn't a place for politicking, if
It's
that's where
not?
we're going.
Mm-mm.
Did you have something, a comment about the district?
Well, okay, then I'll ask a question to one of our board, or is there a vast majority of our seniors out of the class of 25 cannot read and write at the grade level? Anybody from the district tell me that?
I'm sure they can.
Okay, I rest my case. Okay, so I won't say anything else. I'll put it in a good paper.
And one thing about going last is you've about covered everything. But I do want to reiterate again, parent-teacher conferences and how important those are. And those relationships are so important. And we are a partnership. And, I'm sorry, our customer service could be tweaked a little, I think, and we'll be looking into that. But definitely those partnerships are important, and we all have a job to do, and we all have a part to play, and everybody's important, and everyone has a part to play in making this district a better district. That said, it is a great day to be a pioneer, and motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned.